Valley Center City Council meeting for May 17th, 2022 is now in session. Roll call.
Mayor Cicerillo.
Here.
Councilmember Stam.
Here.
Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Bass.
Here.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Kerstetter. Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Colbert.
Here.
Please rise for the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Gracious and loving God, we come before you with gratitude today. We thank you for being a God of love who is with us in this very place, in this very moment. We thank you for all those elected and appointed city officers who have been called to serve you and lead this Valley Center community. Lord, we ask your blessing upon each and every one of us, especially our Mayor Lou, and all the city council members and first responders and all the administrative workers as they pursue, as they strive for Valley Center community. We're about to begin this meeting, Lord. Fill our hearts with gratitude and peace, and ask your blessing upon decisions, and all your name be glorified through the decisions that we make tonight. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Item 5, approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, 6A, City Council meeting minutes of May 3rd, 2022.
Motion to approve the minutes of the May 3rd, 2022 regular council meeting as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. All right, we have no presentations or proclamations, so we'll move on to the public forum. This is the time in the meeting that we allow anybody in the audience that would like to speak to an item that is not on the agenda. All right, seeing none, we'll move on. We have no appointments, so down to old business. Ordinance 1377-22, rezoning property northwest of Main Street in Sheridan for the second reading. If anybody needs Mr. Schreck, you will be more than welcome to come up there, but this is a second reading, so.
Motion for second reading, ordinance 1377-22, which rezones property from C2 to R1B/R3.
Second.
A motion and a second. Excuse me. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-1. All right, here we go. New business item A, Tyler, Content Manager presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As part of our annual evaluations, we task our staff with goals and obtaining those goals in the following year. In my department, Amanda Park, our accounts payable, was tasked with identifying a problem, coming up with a solution, and implementing that solution all the way from the creation of the problem or identification of the problem all the way to implementing that solution. So she's here tonight to go over the Tyler Content Manager.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On behalf of Heather Von Felt, Brittany Ortega, and myself, we're excited to share with you Tyler Content Manager. There, he gets us there. That's all right. No. What this is an electronic file cabinet. I know that most of you, if you walk through City Hall, we have several of them. When you go to try to find a document, it is not necessarily easy, whether it be here, Public Works, or Public Safety. This solves our solution. On top of what it can do for us in any individual department, I will take community development. As our inspector is out there and as we're getting ready to grow, he can electronically pull any document, make the statements that he needs to be made, whether it be about the house, the inspections, any notes that he needs to make. This solves his problem as well as Brittany Ortega's. They can go right there electronically. She doesn't have to pull anything. He doesn't have to take 15, 20 pages of paper with him. It's all right there for him. As far as when it comes to utility billing, it's the same with Heather. She has lots of stacks of paperwork that we might have to go and find. She can scan these documents in and attach it to our citizens as a whole and look at those documents at any time. When it comes to forms and routing, department heads can get these forms that I might send them with the accounts payable department and be able to sign them, allocate them, or change them. When it comes to HR and human resources, Christy can also use these things. It can redact, it can take personal information out to not everybody having access to it other than her, but if she has to send the form to someone else, she can redact certain information. And that talks about the security. There are things that chief can do and have limited access to who can see certain information. So on behalf of myself, Heather Von Felt, and Brittany Ortega, we're excited for this. We look forward to you approving us to purchase this. Just the time that we can save as employees and help our citizens faster.
Wow.
Stand for any questions you might have.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Thank you.
I'm thoroughly impressed. Council, as you know, I, being in the IT world, love any opportunity we have to get rid of paper. Mr. Smith has done a phenomenal job, and now his staff, it's like they're doing a phenomenal job. However, since Councilmember Kerstetter isn't here, I'm going to ask the question because I know he'd want me to. So the questions are, how much is it going to cost? And where's the money coming from?
Well, we would split it across all departments, which would average $707.63 per year per department. And just the time savings alone, I can't see not one department saving that in time, let alone paper.
So this is just basically general operations. Okay. Wow. Anybody else have questions? I think they did a great job. Councilmember Wilson.
Have a rough idea of what you are saving in the amount of time versus the money that's going to be spent for this? Have a rough idea?
I would say 80%.
Okay. Do we have any, I guess when it comes to retention, are you going to be retaining some of the paperwork that's coming in still for a short time?
So you can set the document to quote unquote expire,
Okay.
but that document never really goes away. If you had to go back for some odd reason, it's there because it's in the cloud.
Sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great presentation, by the way.
Anybody else? Councilmember Stan.
What is there a fee, like if you guys call 6-8 months later, you have problems, you need to come in and make changes to it? Is there a fee, or are they pretty easy?
Not with Tyler. Tyler's great to work with, the support staff. Sometimes reaching them might be a little hold time, but they would be able to fix it for us.
Are you talking like a support fee
Yeah,
type thing?
we have a couple Tyler stuff in Derby, and they have problems with it all the time.
Oh,
But it's more sophisticated than this.
gotcha.
It does build
Yeah, you guys are on
permits
10
and
out there.
everything,
Yep.
but yeah.
Yeah, you guys
And
are on
it's
10.
It's a pain.
Anybody else?
Make a
Councilmember.
motion to approve the quote from Tyler Technologies and allow staff to schedule implementation of Tyler Content Manager.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Councilmember Anderson.
As far as the data backup, if something happens locally, do we have access? I mean, is it backed up multiple places?
I'll let Barry speak to that one.
Thank you.
I would do good, but not that
I know you
good.
have an answer for that, but I thought I'd ask it.
So since the council approved us moving to the cloud, it's all hosted within Tyler's data centers in 3 separate locations around the country.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's state-of-the-art technology, cybersecurity, everything. Nothing's housed locally on our stuff.
Great. Thank you.
I do have one more question. So will this allow you to take what paper we have and scan it and upload it as well? Is that part of this whole deal? I mean, not just future, but the current stuff.
Yep, we can do
Perfect.
all of that. It attaches straight to every utility account. I can assign a login to our auditors, and they have full access to our system without pulling boxes of papers and everything
Perfect.
else for them as well.
I suspected as much, but I thought I should ask the question. So, okay, council, we do have a motion and a second on the floor. If there is no further discussion, all in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, ladies, very much. All right, item B, Prairie Lakes Regional Detention Basin Bid Awards.
Evening. I'm Jake Basho.
He's not even, I mean, he's just like, get up there, you know? No, you did not need to introduce him because I'm sure we all know who he is, but it was just funny that you just kind of looked at him and okay, I'm going.
I'm Jake Basho with SEH. I'm the project manager on this regional detention basin grading. This project includes the Trails End mixed-use development grading, as well as the regional detention basin / park area, and then also the Prairie Lakes area to the south of the park area. We got a lot of bids, 4 bids, which was excellent for this time of year and this type of work. The low bid was Unruh Excavating. They've done this type of work before and very confident in their abilities, and it was much higher than my estimate. So I recommend we award Unruh the bid.
Much lower than your estimate.
What's that?
You said much higher than your estimate.
Sorry.
Much lower than your
lower than my
Right.
estimate. Apologize.
No, that's okay. I mean, we had mentioned that in a previous meeting, or I think you and I have mentioned it, how much that was based on what the
Very
estimate was.
competitive
Yep.
bids, yes, absolutely.
Questions from council? Is there a motion?
I move to award the low qualified bid to Unruh Excavating in amount of $1,569,899.60 and authorize mayor to sign.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries 7-0. All right. Guess what's the next item up on the line here? It is now the agreement with Unruh Excavating for Prairie Lakes Regional Detention Basin. I'm pretty sure if anybody has any questions of what we're doing here, for the sake of our newest council member, once we have approved the funding, now we're just going to approve the contract. And that's what this next step is.
I'll just stand for any questions.
Council?
I move to enter into the agreement with Unruh Excavating for the construction of the Prairie Lakes Regional Detention Basin and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item D, Prairie Lakes Mass Grading Inspection and Testing Contract.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Following up on that project award, I'm asking for approval of an inspection and testing contract to have PEC inspect and do materials testing for the Trails End Mass Grading Project. This will allow a PEC inspector to be on site, make sure that construction follows per plan and per city standards, and then also cover materials testing on the soils throughout the duration of the project.
Questions, council? So basically, once again, they are going to be for the lack of a better term, overseers of what Unruh is actually doing. So, and making sure it abides by all applicable laws and specifically the TIF rules here.
Motion of approval of contract with PEC for inspection and testing services of the Prairie Lakes Regional Detention Basin and Erosion Control Improvements Project with estimated fees of $119,543.63 and authorize mayor to sign.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item E, wastewater treatment plant aeration agreement.
Hello again. I am not Rustin. Rustin will be the project manager for the aeration basin as he is our wastewater expert. He'll be doing a review of the entire plant and really just looking at next steps for the city to take to continue to treat the water and what to do with the current aeration basin and future aeration basins and how they fit on the site and other treatment opportunities that exist out there. So, buddy, questions?
Council, questions? Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve agreement with SEH for professional services at the water waste treatment plant in the amount of $18,900 and authorize mayor to sign.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries.
It's on a roll for me.
Item F, Ford Street Property Development Agreement with SEH for construction documents.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll
Who are
start
you?
this one off. Before you this evening is an agreement with SEH for the construction services as far as the construction documents that we're going to ask them to create. What this will do, you already approved prior the plating agreement with SEH. Now this is actually getting the utilities on site, creating that public roadway that will access that 20 and a quarter acres in the back and everything in the green, of course, with wastewater and water in the blue. And so looking forward to the timeline, of course, with the development on the frontage. For the commercial side, we want to make sure that we're running everything kind of cohesively, consistently together for timing so we're not delayed. As you know, we like to be quick, nimble. We like to try to cut the red tape as quickly as possible in Valley Center. We are open for business, and this is one of those examples of being able to work together with a private-public partnership in order to get things done a little quicker. And so this is the construction of the utilities and infrastructure side of the 4th Street property. And previous meetings is when you approve that platinum agreement. And I think Jake had something to add as well as far as just making sure you know the total scope that will be included.
Yeah, so we've got sanitary to bring to the sites from Abilene, working with Rod on that, and water main to bring under Ford and down to the multifamily lot to the south. And then, as Brent mentioned, the public street that will extend down to the multifamily lot to the south. And then as we're working on the Ford Street and Dexter intersection, we'll kind of reconstruct that return, that north return as you approach Dexter from Ford. The grade there, while we're at that intersection, we'll go ahead and reconstruct that intersection, adjust grades, and adjust the radii.
Councilmember Stam.
You actually touched on it. I've seen on the construction documents talk about that intersection. I was hoping it was going to get redone because that's about the poorest design I think I've ever seen of an intersection.
Well, we'll be digging a big hole right there, so why not?
I think I heard more complaints about that intersection than I do, especially in the winter.
And you probably use that intersection a lot too. He said, you're over there.
And I did want to clarify for Mayor and Council as well as in the public, that lot in the multifamily, we don't have anything guaranteed. This, of course, was a concept that SPT had came up with back in 2016. And so that's just more or less making that lot shovel ready. And so we don't have that lot sold currently. We do not have a purchase agreement. And we are just stubbing everything out to make it as shovel ready as possible to help hopefully attract potentially multifamily, or it could be a few different things. So it is for sale, and we're accepting calls at Ryan's office.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Motion of approval of the Ford Street Development Agreement with SEH Incorporated in the amount of $39,200 and authorize mayor to sign.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item G, Ford Street Improvement Award Notice.
Just going to trade off all night.
Tag team.
Well, this one's been a long time coming, but we got bids on Ford Street for the paving and water line project. We received 3 bids from 3 qualified contractors. We had Donlinger, Wildcat Construction, and Cornejo. There were 2 options for the bid for the pavement. We had an asphalt option and a concrete option. The low asphalt option with the water line was Donlinger Construction at just a little bit over 4.7 million. And the low concrete option, including water line, was Wildcat Construction at 5.1 million. City staff is recommending approval of the concrete option through Wildcat, just because, you know, the quality of concrete versus asphalt, and especially in today's bidding climate and oil prices, asphalt bid, you know, quite a bit closer than we would have normally expected in comparison to concrete. Just for comparison, I mean, with that being a truck route and the more maintenance needed for an asphalt road, I mean, a road the size of Ford Street, a mill and overlay that you could expect as early, 10 to 15 years, that's a $500,000 project. So with those reasonings, we're asking for acceptance of Wildcat's bid.
Questions from council? Councilmember Anderson.
Does the material change anything with the schedule or anything?
It's
Okay.
all built in.
Council, I was privy to this just ahead of the agenda going out, and that being a truck route, I can't see us making any other choice, especially with, builders first source, and the amount of extra traffic they're going to generate, and all the tankers, oil tankers, gas tankers, all come down that route too. So, yeah, I don't see any. This in my mind is almost a no-brainer. So, it was just my 2 cents. Councilmember Stam.
I agree.
All right.
Motion to accept and approve bid from Wildcat Construction for Ford Street improvements in the amount of $5,148,897.60.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Item H, Ford Street paving construction agreements.
Building on that, this is a contract between PEC and the city for PEC to provide construction administration services and then along with material testing services for the duration of the paving project. The values in this contract came out to be less than the original estimated and budgeted amounts that we had provided the city early on in the project planning process. But yeah, the materials testing is an hourly not to exceed 23,000, and the construction administration for the paving would be a lump sum of 7.
Questions? Councilmember Evans.
Construction administration, is that basically overseeing this as well?
Right, from the office side. So we'll field questions from the inspector, contractor, answer questions for the plans, help coordinate progress meetings, do the final walkthrough, final inspection of the project, all those items.
Thank you.
Councilmember Wilson.
With the fees being less than expected, can we keep that trend going from your side of things? I appreciate that.
I'll do my best.
Your predecessor was not as good at that, so let's keep the numbers going there. Yeah, I got to take a shot at Mr. Golka. He's not here, so. We were always getting updates from him on increases, so I'm glad to hear that, Mr. Shear. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Move to approve PEC agreement for construction administration and material testing with Ford Street paving in the amount not to exceed $93,000 and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Item I, Ford Street Waterline Construction Agreement. Gee, are we getting ready to do any work on Ford Street? No.
Not sure, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Similar to the previous contract for paving, this covers construction administration and construction inspection for the water line portion. There's not inspection needed on the paving side because the county is providing that. So PEC is going to do the inspection for the water line portion. That will be hourly not to exceed of that 42 number and then a lump sum for CA of 6. And similar to the numbers for the paving contract, these came out lower than what was originally estimated in budget.
See, now he's going to jump on that every time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Sheriff.
Well, you in
Pointing
trouble
that
if you
out.
come back with a change order. I'll tell you there. All righty.
Motion to approve PEC supplemental agreement for construction administration and inspection services for the water line along Ford Street in an amount not to exceed $48,551.76 with total project cost of $79,451.76 and authorize mayor to sign.
Second.
The motion is second. Any further discussion?
That Evans, the seconded.
Yes.
Thank you.
All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item J, pool use agreement with Valley Center Rec Commission and VCSC. Swim Club. Jeez. Look at that.
Mayor and council.
Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. It's not one of those two. Welcome, sir.
Well, in front of you is just the agreement between us and the swim club. It didn't change from last year. It's a fair agreement. We've checked with all the other facilities and their pools. And so we enjoy having the swim club with the Valley Center pool, and it translates to our high school team. So we actually have a few state swimmers this year. I think there's 5 girls going to state this year. So it's growing our high school sports too. So that's exciting.
Council, questions?
I make a motion to approve agreement for pool use between City of Valley Center Recreation Commission, and the Valley Center Swim Club, and authorize mayor to sign.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-1. All righty. Item K, approval of Pool Rec Center AE vendor recommendation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council again. Before you is the bid tabulation that was in the packet were the scores from the RFP. The Pool and Rec Committee have met quite a number of times over the past couple of weeks and scored the 5 proposals that were received, as you see, from Haney Associates, Alloy, SFS Architecture, LK Architecture, and SJCF. From those scores, the committee did bring in 3, the top 3 scores, to go ahead and interview. We did conduct interviews. We had another separate 5 questions that were scored. And then it was just a total overall highest score was then what we discussed last night. That's why this wasn't quite in the packet, but the 3 firms, of course, the top scores were in your packet. The top score from that interview process was SJCF as the AE services. So that comes before you as a recommendation for award on the AE vendor side of the Pool and Recreation Center that we're all anxiously awaiting the anticipation to get started on. We do have representatives in the audience from SJCF this evening with us if you want them to come and introduce themselves. If not, this is just the award, and then on your next meeting is when we'll have the full contract. But we did want to have the awards this evening so then we can get going as far as starting the contract negotiation process. I'll stand for any questions.
Councilmember Stam.
You want to mention about the 2 different differentials in the score totals? Why
Oh.
they're so different? You might bring that up.
Yes, thank you. And so as you see, and on the next item on the CMAR and the AE services, and so on the AE side, one of our representatives that is on the school board as our school board representative, Sean Miller, he explained multiple times throughout the courses process that his firm is a part of a submittal in one of the companies on the AE side. And so he did not feel, and we told him, that he was not able to score, nor had any discussion or influence on the architect and engineering services side of this process. And so that's why you see the total scores with the highest score being 241 points. And on the next item, the high score is 278. It's because we didn't have one person scoring on the AE side. Of course, all those videos are on our YouTube channel, so I encourage everybody to go ahead and watch that. They're exciting in our opinion. And so we'll stand for any questions.
Any other questions?
But yes, thank you, Councilmember Sam. And Councilmember Stam and Councilmember Evans are the two council representatives on that committee for us.
Questions? Motion?
Move to approve committee recommendation of SJCF to provide architectural and engineering services for the pool and rec center.
Second?
We have a motion to second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item L, approval of pool rec center CMAR vendor recommendation.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Before you, same thing as the previous item on the architect and engineering side. This is the construction manager at risk services. We did have 6 firms that submitted. In your packet was the RFP scoring results. These were great. Everyone that submitted were highly qualified, and really appreciate the committee's due diligence and taking their time to really go through each one. Again, we took the top 3 scores from this side, and we did interview last week Donlinger, Hutton, and McCown Gordon as the CMAR side of things. As you see, here are the total scores with 278 going to McCown Gordon. We do have representatives in the audience as well from them. Same process. This would be the award, and then we would start right away with contract negotiations and have a contract hopefully before you on the June 7th. And then that's when I told the firms that we can go ahead and have a little introduction from them and kind of a little bit more background, since we had a few items on the agenda here this evening. But I do know they're in attendance, and they may stick around afterwards to introduce themselves. I'll stand for any questions.
Council, questions?
I make a motion to approve committee recommendation of McCown Gordon to provide construction management service for the pool and rec center.
Second.
Here's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Oh, looky, an item that doesn't really have to do with construction. That's 2 of them. Item M, approval of purchase of fire truck.
Go ahead and bring us up here. I'll be up here for just a minute. So, this item before you this evening is the request to purchase a new fire truck. It is a Spartan MetroStar pumper fire truck. We do have Chief Tormey here to answer any specific questions you may have about the fire truck. As we're going through all the financings and running through the numbers over and over again, we figured out we did have that little bit of extra room to go ahead and squeeze this in. I believe our current fire truck is 28 years old. So it is definitely time for an upgrade. This is what's pictured here would be what it would closely look like for the new 2023 model. We did run this through Sourcewell, so everything has already been previously bid out with the cooperative purchase agreement. Through the Sourcewell contract, Spartan does provide almost a 10% discount off MSRP which is why the price tag was originally $817,000 and we ended up getting it for $789,000. So in our Tim note financing later on, you see we had budgeted $800,000 for this, so it fits right in there, everything else. Here's the quote, the bid, and the contract with Feld Fire to purchase the truck. I was going to put in the specs documents, but it's another 116 pages long. So thank you, Chief Tormey and his crew, for doing their large amount of due diligence and getting exactly what we need. So greatly appreciate that. And I'll stand for any questions.
Councilmember Anderson.
You answered my first question of how old is the piece of equipment we're replacing. Follow up on that. Are we planning to sell that, donate that? I know in the past we've worked some deals with some smaller communities and have been able to bless them with equipment that.
That would be our
Passed
goal
on.
again this time.
Okay.
We'll, as we get closer to the new truck being done, we'll come back to council and discuss that further. This is probably going to take at least 12 to 14 months, 12 to 14 months to build this truck. So probably at least 14, I imagine, with the delays today. But as we get closer, we'll come back. Our preference, we've had some companies interested. They're going to take it, clean it up, and make more money on it. So our preference would be to help a smaller city that doesn't have these opportunities.
Thank you.
Councilmember Stam.
Does the fire department handpick what they want on the truck? Is it kind of you take pieces and put it together?
They go over nearly every inch of that truck as far as where the equipment's going to go, what the equipment's going to be, and that's why it was 116 pages. It took multiple meetings to come to that.
And on a tie on to that, not that it really deals with this, but something this council and maybe the next council needs to start thinking about. We might need to expand our fire department with all the housing going on. Might need to look at maybe getting another engine, hiring up full-time employees. It's not for this, but just something to start thinking about.
Exactly, yeah. I think we're already discussing that,
Okay.
staff
Very
is.
good.
Councilmember Colbert.
Yeah, the only thing I want to ask is the training on this new truck. How long would that take for each new member?
Well, a lot of this is going to be really similar. One of the reasons we wanted this specific truck, this is the chassis and the truck itself is similar to our engine tender that we currently have. So it's a similar setup. Most of these guys already know how to use it. For the guys that don't, then there will be some on the job training from Chief Tormey and some of the other staff that's well acquainted with that type of truck, and it won't take long.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve purchase of Spartan Metro Star pumper truck for Feld Fire in the amount of $789,579.00 and authorize mayor to sign.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mayor, if I could jump in real quick. I do have to acknowledge, and I have to say thank you to Chief Tormey and his entire department, but especially Chief Tormey on being here on his birthday. And so today is his birthday. Happy birthday, sir. And I'm shocked you chose to spend that with us, but thank you. Happy birthday.
Lonnie, you should know better. At least you didn't start breaking in and making us sing. So, all right. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries 7-1. Thank you. 7-0. Thank you. Item N, approval of sewer line replacement contract.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council. Tonight, we're coming in front of you with the repair/replacement of approximately 750 linear feet of 10-inch clay sewer line. If we could go on to the next picture, Barry, so it's a lot easier to explain where this is. This actual sewer main runs down between two rows of houses, actually in backyards. There is a utility easement there. However, these are all fences, privacy fences, sheds, whatnot in there. As I said in my letter, due to the varied approaches to this repair and complexity, did go out and get 4 different quotes. There's a wide range, as you can see in there, and that is largely due to the very different approaches that you can take to this. We are recommending that we go with utility maintenance contractors on a CIP lining and one point repair. And with me tonight, to answer any questions you may have, I have Jack Rowe, utility maintenance contractors,
Can you pass that
kind
down?
enough to join us, so I wouldn't have to stand up here and answer all these technical questions that he may.
All right, let him come up here. And I will put the example right up here on the counter. I am somewhat familiar with the process, but I would like you to go ahead and explain, what are we looking at here? And, just for everybody, all the whole 1 or 2 people that may be watching too. Step over by the mic so we can get you on the, sorry.
So what you're looking at there is the green portion of that would be considered to be the host pipe, which will be the petrified clay pipe that you have in the ground existing now. The interior is the liner, the CIPP liner that we will install inside of the petrified clay pipe. It forms and fits to the old pipe. Whatever's there, that's what it's going to look like when we get done. The only thing is that it will make it a smooth and continuous transition. It's jointless and seamless all the way through. So even though it's being reduced in diameter by 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, depending upon the mill thickness, it's going to increase the flow capacity of that line by approximately 30%. In the course of that, it also restructures the pipe. So you got basically like a brand new PVC pipe inside the old pipe. The life expectancy as far as design is 50 years. It goes longer than that. Fiberglass type product. The pipe, where it's cracked or broke and it's got open joints in it now, won't have any of that, so it seals off all the groundwater and infiltration that comes in. Stops the roots, all that kind of stuff. The only access point for that material after this point will be service connections.
Councilmember Anderson.
How did we discover that this section needed to be replaced, Rodney?
So we have a contract once a year, have 1/3 of our sewer system cleaned, and then they're contracted to their TV up to 15% of what they clean. And through some of the TV and videos that we have seen over the years, it just progressively got worse.
Okay. Do we have anything current? Like, is there any replacement that needs to be done on this? I understand how this process works, but is there any replacement of has any of it degraded enough to where there needs to be work done to it? Okay.
There is, and it's approximately 50 feet north of Clay, is the street to the south. From the manhole, there's a point at which one service connection was installed, and I would call it a break-in tap or a hammer tap, where they literally went in and broke the clay around the pipe and set it in there, and it's collapsed to the halfway point of the pipe. At that point, it's not structural at all.
Okay.
And we can't line past that or get back to the service to cut it open.
Okay. Thank you. Do we video after the materials put in?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll get a post video inspection of it as well as a prior.
Great. Thank you so much.
He's looking forward to seeing that, I think.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Rowe, but
It's a very cool system.
You will video before you go in and after you go in.
So there will be a pre-video of what we will be installing into, and then there's a post video after it's complete.
Rodney, could you at the very least send that out to us or me in particular? I'd like to see that. Yeah.
Well, just show it at a council meeting one night, okay?
Be sure to try to make a TikTok for you, Council.
There you go. Thank you.
Councilmember Stam.
I've seen this done for many years. It's an awesome product, but it's more awesome to watch it installed. It's quite a feat to watch that done.
In my 30 years of this, I started out, the original process started out as a water inversion, which we still do today. It's turned to, there's processes that use a pull-in-place liner as well, and there's an air inversion and steam cure as well. On this particular line, because of the condition of it, we will do a water inversion, which takes a little more time, but it alleviates a lot of problems.
Will you run the thing in after and cut the places out for the services?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the cool part.
Okay, now that might be the cool part, the robot cutter, yeah.
Yeah.
A little robot cutter will run inside the main and recut your services open from the inside of the main. So if you look at that picture there, all those fences up there, if we would have had to dig that line up, we would have had to tear down all those fences, put all those fences, dig up people's backyards. He'll only have to dig to do the 1-point repair. Have it, if that's the only repair, once we've done closer examination.
All right.
That's the biggest thing that saved us right there.
Any other questions?
I move to approve the proposal with UMC to repair sewer main in the amount of $70,095.00 and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack.
Yep. Thank you.
Moving right along, Resolution 717-22, Paving Authority revised petitions for Arbor Valley Development.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, once again. Before you this evening is first one is the paving petition. The next one is the water petition for Arbor Valley. We did approve these back in December, but due to recent price increases, et cetera, we did have to revise these to higher numbers. So that's all this is. It's just repealing the old one, approving the new one at the higher numbers. And then those numbers then will be reflected in our financings later on. The first one here is just for the paving. Once again, it's through lots 1 through 33. 68% of this one will be assessed to the Special Improvement District for the specials. The city will be responsible for the other 32%. And this is because the amount of the phase 1 amount is disproportionate to phase 2. So we would end up having a situation where the entrance houses have specials almost double the amount of phase 2. So we decided on this petition to implement a benefit fee. So when phase 2 is created, that portion we're covering now, we will then recoup through that benefit fee on the phase 2. So we'll cover it for now. For now, it'll just be the interest payments on the TIP notes until it's done. Then when phase 2 starts, that fee will be assessed and we'll recoup that small amount of interest that we'll pay.
Questions? Motion.
Make a motion to approve resolution 717-22, authorizing the paving improvements in Arbor Valley, repealing resolution 70-21.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Item P, Resolution 718-22, Water Authority revised petitions for Arbor Valley Development. Okay. Same deal. He's already explained it, I guess. I mean, we don't really.
The thing is paving, just no benefit fee on this one. It'll be 100% assessed to lots 1 through 33 of phase 1.
Questions? Motion.
Move to approve resolution 718-22, authorizing the water improvements in Arbor Valley and repealing resolution 707-21.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Item Q, Resolution 719-22, authorization for temp notes.
So we've finally reached the culmination point of all the projects we've approved this evening, along with Arbor Valley, Cedar Ridge, the fire truck, and Ford Street. This is the timeline for the tip note process. Tonight, we will approve the going out for the tip note sale. Tomorrow, we should receive our rating, our credit rating regarding the tip notes. And then on June 7th, we'll have the bond sale. And then that evening, we will come to that council meeting with the results of the bond sale for the approval to actually issue the debt, and then we'll receive the money near the end of June. This covers, or included in this is the financing analysis. It includes each project, how much is going to be allocated to each project, and then all the costs of issuance. And it does also include the TIF project for the dirt work and everything there. When I was putting the agenda documents together, I thought the -2 tent note documents were in here, but I guess they got left off. I thought they're all in one PDF. And that's what I placed on the bench for you, the extra copy of these. We'll get this into the agenda in the morning. This just shows the -2 TIP note for the $855,000 total for the second portion of the TIP district. We had to do a second TIP note on a taxable basis just because of that letter of credit we have with the guaranteed money regarding the TIP district. If it were to fail, it gets into bond tax law, and Garth can explain that much better than I can when he's here at our next meeting. So if you have any questions on, IRS and tax law with municipal bonds.
Questions?
Move to approve resolution 719-22 to authorize the offering of general obligation temp notes, series 2022-1 and 2022-2.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item R, Resolution 720-22, acceptance of donated land from Herb Ray.
This is a resolution that authorizes a couple of lots in the industrial park for Mr. Ray. And you can see, well, they're showing up there on the overhead. It's something we need to do to formally accept it upon, if the motion does pass, then the mayor will be authorized to sign the resolution accepting the land to the city of Valley Center.
Questions? Councilmember Anderson?
Can we go back to the picture of those two lots, please? Maybe I'm getting a little ahead of it, but are we going to combine these two pieces, or is there an access for the first parcel, lot 1?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yes, and so Lot 1, if you actually look at that map, Cedar Avenue does come down to the south and then goes across the train tracks. There's a crossing there, and there is access right there where the mouse is. That is the access, legal access for Lot 1. Lot 2, of course, would be a roadway from Ash extended north to cul-de-sac. This is currently the way it's platted. The road does not extend. There is, a barricade there at kind of right there by Safar Tool. Safar Tool. There currently. And so, if the city did want to extend that, then that does open this up. Lot 2, as shown here, does have some floodplain issues to it. Lot 1, we are going to, if the council so chooses to approve this evening, Lot 1, what we'll do is actually lot split off a small portion to then add to the Continental Timber lot to the north. Mr. Ray had wanted to do a 100-year lease forever on a 10-foot easement, and I just said it'd be easier to lot split. Once we actually acquire the property, then we'll do lot split and add 10 feet of lot 1 to that property to the north, just so you all know that lot split would be coming after the city, if we so choose to accept this. Mr. Ray has been great to work with. He actually approached us last year with this and then went through the process of getting an appraisal done for tax purposes and wanting to make sure that he kind of left something to the city he thought was valuable. This is something that will greatly benefit the city of Valley Center as we continue to grow and expand in our different opportunities when coming up with public-private partnerships. As you know, we're going to begin, exploring potentially location of the water treatment plant. the water treatment plant, if you recall from our June 2021 meetings, is tentatively kind of slated for around the water tower where the current brush pile and millings and kind of our stockpile of various materials are. So this would be a potential great location that we've discussed as city staff of potentially locating the brush and tree pile and some of the city piles of dirt and millings and all those fun things that the city accumulates. That this could be a potential location for that. Or we could get the ground out of the floodplain with the tremendous amount of dirt that we have on our 4th Street property. We have 50,000 cubic yards we could move without even messing anything up. That we could then get out of the floodplain and market it to potentially sell for industrial. So there's a lot of opportunities and potential developments or city use that we can have for this ground. So we appreciate Mr. Herb Ray for bringing this to the city. And I would look for motion to approve the resolution. Stand for any questions.
This meeting was long enough to begin with. First of all,
through that agenda.
First of all, I would personally like to thank Mr. Ray, and I'm on behalf of the governing body. It's a very nice gift. Except I'm still having a problem trying to figure out where this is.
And so, do you know where Hornet Cutting Systems is?
So was this the when you went down Clay Street, and there was the sign there that said "lots for sale"? That's
what we're talking about.
So that's what 2 is.
Yes.
So I still can't get.
Do you know where the cell phone tower is, Mayor?
Yeah.
Just north of Hornet Cutting Systems, there's a cell tower. That's that little square that's out of lot 1.
Where does that?
The city
how
building.
How would you get it? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out where the road is to get to that.
Cedar Avenue, right there. It's
okay.
Right.
So yes. Yep. So that's it. Okay. Yeah. I was wondering where that road went. I never drove down it.
Barton Sullivan's
Right.
had a little issue there. That building. This is
So it's behind that building. It's really behind that building where the Barton Sullivan's used to be.
Yes.
Okay.
Continental Timber. Or
Okay. All right.
Pallet company is right there to the north of lot 1.
I got it now. Okay.
Currently being farmed.
Okay. All right. I got it.
And the city Public Works building is right where Clay Street is, right to the south of Clay Street. That's where the Public Works building.
Okay. Great. All right.
I move to approve resolution 720-22, which authorizes acceptance of land donated by Herb Ray.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, item 12, consent agenda.
Motion to accept consent agenda as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you very much. And we'll move on to staff reports. Mr. Schrack.
Good evening. I just wanted to follow up from Councilmember Colbert's comment from last city council meeting. Our code enforcement officer and building inspector, Bill Andrews, has been hitting the pavement very hard these past few weeks and issuing a lot of friendly letters to residents asking them to please mow their grass. And if they don't, then we'll take care of it for them and send them the bill. But I just wanted to follow up and let them know that, yes, he is addressing that. And we've been sending out a lot of letters these past couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Owens is not here. Chief Newman. Mr. Eggleston. Mr. Shear. Mr. Arbuckle. Mr. Smith.
Nothing else to see.
All right. Got nobody else. Mr. Clark.
Good evening once again. Well, you blew my time out the water here. I did not anticipate this being an hour meeting.
Me neither.
It's not over yet.
And I control it. I'm thinking 8:38 was the last number I heard was, but anyhow.
8:45. But I wasn't sure if Chief Torrey was going to stick around, so that's why I wished him happy birthday. But we also have another birthday in attendance. Our very own city engineer, Gage. It's Gage's birthday today as well. So. Oh, no. Thanks to Chrissy, she reminded me.
I will tell you this. He has never remembered mine. As long as he's been here, I've always gotten through that meeting with him never remembering it, and I'm so good with that. So
I believe there's a reason why.
that's fine with me. That's fine with me.
But no, just want to say thank you all. I know tonight's agenda was long, but this is really an accumulation of so many items that we've been working on for many, many years. I know there's a lot of expenditures this evening, but want to thank each and every one of you for your confidence in our direction as we continue to grow and expand the city. As always, if you ever need me, please come see me. Your constituents, give them my cell phone number. It's on my business card, and we're always here to answer questions. Also, always encourage them to go onto our website. Our website has a tremendous amount of information on it. And also, too, I think you've all been doing a great job with getting your constituents to download our app. And so we've seen a large increase in our app users. What are we up to now, Matt? 826 people have our app downloaded. So that's how we send out a lot of good push notifications when there comes to water breaks, when it comes to road closure. So please make sure that your constituents are downloading that app. And then also, too, when we are sending out those friendly little reminders, that comes from our constituents. So on that app, they can take a picture of it and it goes straight to Bill, and that gets top priority when you do it that way. So please have your constituents, as well as all of you, send that through our app underneath a report of concern. Thank you and have a great night.
We have an app? No, I'm sorry. All right, we're going to move on to governing body reports. I have a couple things. We did had a very nice celebration for our beloved Councilmember Colbert. He accepted the award from the Daughters of American Revolution for all his hard work with the wall, as we've all known that he's done. And I thank you once again. We do have the blood drive underway. Dun, 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 dun. Well, the appointment booking is underway. Everybody in Valley Center, come to the vet. Do not go to the Park City blood drive, folks. That's going to count to their side of the fence. Please make sure you go to the one and sign up for the one that's in Valley Center at the community building, please. It's important. This is vital to the survival of Valley Center. No, we want to win.
What's the time, Mayor?
The time is Tuesday, May 31st from 1 to 7 p.m. I already have my appointment booked, and I was surprised how many were already on there for it already. 1:45 was the earliest, and they run appointments every 15 minutes, 10 minutes. I can't remember. I think it's 15. But anyhow, and there were other slots already filled up. So, yeah, let's book this up. And while we're talking about it, we also need volunteers.
And the T-shirt, Mayor.
And the T-shirt. First 100 people. Actually, it's going to be 100 because I don't think there's 100 slots open. So I think everybody should get a T-shirt.
First 100.
So for the first 100.
So the registration, it only allows you to have so many. So you have to book them first, and then we can add.
Yep.
So our goal is to have 100.
Yeah. So, but we do need some volunteers. Feel free. I will leave this here so you can sign up. I've done both of these in the past, and I plan on going ahead and signing up to the 4:50 to 7 o'clock slot for one. It's not really hard. The registration is pretty simple. You look it up on the screen. You go through, if anybody hasn't donated blood, you go through this process. They check you in, they give you this little booklet to read. Then you go back and say, okay, I've read it. And then they move you into the line. The other position that's available is the canteen. Basically what you do for the canteen is you basically are the escorts too, I believe, in the canteen. In the ones that I've passed, you would help or escort the donor to the area and then get them seated and then get them whatever they would like of the snacks that are brought available. So it's not really any hard work. But there's a volunteer sheet and we will leave it at the front desk. Go ahead.
And so The blood drive is one thing coming up, and I did forget one thing, Mayor, that whenever you're done with the blood drive that I forgot to mention that I was sitting there thinking about.
Go ahead.
And so also mark your calendars. We will need volunteers on Thursday, June 9th. So mark your calendar Thursday, June 9th from 6:15 to 9. We are going to be doing our PBS Kansas pledge drive. And so it's a telethon, but this one is extra special because this one is going to be the first one in their new building. And so we want to make sure that we're one of the first communities in their answering phones in their brand new building. So you'll get a sneak peek before their open house. And so again, that's Thursday, June 9th from 6:15 to 9, where we'll be doing a pledge drive with our partners in PBS Kansas. So apologize. I just remember that a few things going on. So thank you.
All righty. Councilmember Stam.
No, I'll pass.
It depends. What time was you? Councilmember Evans.
I just wanted to let everybody know, if you're not aware, we're going to be unveiling the Vietnam Moving Wall Memorial on the 27th of May at 11 a.m. So I invite everybody to join.
Where's that?
Thank you. It's going to be at Veterans Park.
Councilmember Bass.
Nothing for me. I was surprised we got done this early.
Councilmember Anderson.
I have nothing, thank you.
Councilmember Gregory.
Nothing.
Councilmember Wilson.
Do we have an update on the house there at First and Meridian?
There's
I think our timeline's gone past what we.
Well, they're still doing cleanup. Originally, they were slated to start demoing the house in mid-May, so we're at mid-May now. Bill had heard from another third party that might be delayed, so we're looking into that, and I can provide an update at a later date. But their demolition permit is good for 6 months.
Okay.
So technically, any time within that 6-month time frame, they can start. Now, if they miss that, and it's past 6 months, then they would need to renew that and go through the same approval process. But they do have 6 months from the issuance date of that demolition permit to actually start work.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
I just wanted to thank city staff for everything that you did on this agenda, with this being such a large agenda. You know, and being a very busy businessman that I am, I appreciate all the hard work that went into this to make this night a very easy flow night. So thank you.
Even though we're not making any of the times that you're all betting on, but that's okay.
I'm trying to stretch it out, Mayor. You want me to talk to Mr. Shear again about his lowering costs?
Councilmember Colbert.
Oh, he wants to extend it, so I guess I'll just keep on talking for the next. Let me see, I had 9 o'clock, so.
I didn't think it was going to be that long, but I had 8:30. I'll be honest with you, okay?
No, I'd like to thank everybody for the kind remarks about Saturday. That was awesome, actually. The only other thing I have is to invite everybody to come out to this Veterans Park again. We have a couple guest speakers that'll be there. And so we'd like to see as many as we can. Other than that, if you don't have any other business before the council, make a motion the meeting be adjourned.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. Now I'll be here for the next hour and a half, signing documents.
11 a.m.